Let's be honest. The most dangerous moment in a man's life isn't when a woman leaves him. It's when she stays, smiles, answers texts, laughs at jokes, and quietly stops seeing him. That silence doesn't sound like rejection. It sounds like comfort. And that's why it ruins men. Because when a woman truly stops caring, she doesn't argue, she doesn't complain, she doesn't beg. She just fades. But when she ignores one very specific thing about you while staying emotionally present, that's not indifference. That's love in its most terrifying form. I'm going to tell you something women rarely admit out loud. When a woman is only mildly interested, she watches what you do. When she's deeply in love, she watches who you are when you think no one is watching. And there is one thing, one subtle, fragile signal, that if she ignores it, it means you've crossed from being optional to being emotionally anchored inside her nervous system. Most men think love is proven by attention, texts, calls, jealousy, possessiveness. But female psychology doesn't work like that. Those are surface behaviors, learned behaviors. What I'm talking about is instinctive, unconscious, something she can't fake even if she wanted to. When a woman truly loves you, she stops reacting to your emotional fluctuations. Read that again slowly. She doesn't punish your silence. She doesn't test your loyalty. She doesn't spike drama to feel secure. She ignores the small emotional inconsistencies that would normally make her pull away from a man she doesn't trust. Why? Because her brain has already categorized you as safe. A woman who is unsure about you monitors every shift. Your tone changes, she notices. You reply slower, she spirals. You sound distant, she mirrors it. That's not love, that's evaluation. That's her subconscious asking, is this man reliable or am I wasting my emotional investment? But when she ignores those micro signals, when she doesn't interrogate your mood, doesn't chase reassurance, doesn't turn your quiet moments into conflict, that's not boredom, that's emotional certainty. And here's the uncomfortable truth most men never hear. Women don't relax around men they don't care about. They detach. Relaxation is intimacy. Ignoring your emotional noise means she's tuned in to your emotional signal. She understands that your silence isn't abandonment, that your distance isn't disinterest, that your focus shifting isn't rejection. She gives you psychological room to be human because, in her mind, you're already chosen. This is why so many men self-sabotage right here. They mistake her calm for loss of attraction. They escalate. They over-explain. They demand reassurance. And the very thing that made her feel safe, your emotional steadiness, gets replaced by insecurity. Love, real love, doesn't cling. It trusts. And when a woman ignores the urge to control your emotions, to manage your reactions, to test your consistency, it means she's emotionally bonded, not excited, bonded. That bond doesn't come from charm. It doesn't come from looks. It comes from how you made her nervous system feel over time. Predictable, grounded, solid. If she's ignoring that part of you, if she's letting you breathe without fear, you're not losing her. You're already inside. Men are taught to believe that love grows louder over time, more passion, more intensity, more proof. But in female psychology, love actually grows quieter, not weaker, quieter. And if you don't understand this shift, you will misread devotion as disinterest and destroy something rare. Here's the truth most men never hear. A woman in love stops managing you. When she doesn't love you yet, she manages everything. Your schedule, your tone, your effort. She reminds, nudges, questions, corrects. She wants to see if you can rise to her emotional standard. That's not control, it's assessment. She's deciding if you're worth long-term emotional risk. But when she's truly in love, she ignores the urge to fix you. She doesn't micromanage your ambition. She doesn't constantly push you to talk more, open up faster, explain yourself deeper. She lets you arrive in your own time. That silence you feel, that space, that's not neglect. That's respect mixed with attachment. Women only surrender control when they trust the foundation. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Most men feel valuable when they're needed. So, when a woman stops needing emotional reassurance, stops demanding constant presence, stops chasing clarity, you feel useless, invisible, replaceable. But psychologically, the opposite is happening. She's internalized you. You've become part of her emotional baseline, like gravity, like the floor beneath her feet. She doesn't check if the floor is still there every morning. She steps on it, assuming it will hold. A woman who ignores your imperfections, the rough edges, the off days, the moments you pull inward, is a woman who sees your long-term self, not your performance. And performance is what attraction feeds on. Safety is what love feeds on. This is why men who rely on charm lose women who crave depth. Charm needs constant renewal. Depth settles. When she's in love, she stops interpreting every behavior as a signal. She no longer asks, "What does this mean?" because her nervous system already knows who you are. That's the thing she ignores, the urge to overanalyze you. She doesn't decode every text. She doesn't reread every sentence. She doesn't spiral over every pause. She trusts the emotional pattern you've established, and patterns matter more to women than moments. A man who is inconsistent but intense creates obsession. A man who is consistent but calm creates attachment. Only one of those lasts. This is also why women in love don't threaten to leave. Threats are tools of insecurity. Silence is the language of certainty. She doesn't need to scare you into staying because she believes you're already there. And if you don't recognize this, you'll start chasing a reaction that doesn't need to exist. You'll poke the bond, test it, stress it, just to feel something. But love isn't loud, it's steady. If she's ignoring the need to constantly adjust you, to reshape you, to pressure you, she's not giving up. She's giving in. And only women who are emotionally invested do that. Most men never notice it until it's gone. The scariest kind of love doesn't feel intoxicating at first. It feels normal. And that's exactly why men panic. Because when a woman is falling, everything feels heightened. But when she has fallen, everything stabilizes. And stability doesn't feed the ego, it feeds the bond. Here's the thing she ignores when she's truly in love, the need to constantly be impressed by you. When a woman is still deciding, she watches for sparks. She notices your stories, your confidence, your ambition, your humor. She's alert, measuring, comparing. Attraction lives there. But love begins the moment she stops needing to be dazzled. She no longer expects you to perform masculinity on command. You don't have to be on all the time. You don't have to dominate every conversation, lead every moment, or prove your value with words. She's already accepted your essence. Your presence alone regulates her emotions. That's why she's calmer around you. And this is where men misunderstand female psychology in a way that costs them everything. Men think excitement equals desire. Women know safety sustains desire. A woman who is not in love needs stimulation to stay engaged. A woman who is in love needs alignment to stay connected. So when she ignores the urge to push you into being more impressive, more expressive, more anything, that's not her settling. That's her bonding. She stopped negotiating attraction. She started building attachment. And attachment is deeply biological. Her body recognizes you as familiar, grounding, non-threatening. Your voice lowers her stress. Your presence slows her breathing. You don't excite her nervous system, you calm it. That calm is dangerous for men who confuse anxiety with chemistry, because anxiety feels intense, calm feels flat, and men raised on drama think flat means fading, but in female psychology, calm means home. This is why women in love don't chase validation the same way. She doesn't need you to constantly reassure her feelings. She already knows how she feels. What she watches now is how life feels with you in it. She ignores the small disappointments, the awkward moments, the days you're tired, the conversations that don't sparkle. She doesn't tally them. She weighs the whole emotional climate. And here's a truth men rarely accept. Women fall out of love not because of boredom, but because of emotional unpredictability. If your presence creates emotional whiplash, warm one day, cold the next, her nervous system never settles. and a woman cannot stay in love with a man who keeps her emotionally bracing for impact. But if she's ignoring your off days, your silence, your internal processing, it's because she trusts your baseline. She knows you return to center. That trust is earned, slowly, quietly, over time. And once it's there, it changes how she loves you. She stops chasing highs. She invests in continuity. This is why some men hear, "You've changed," when in reality the woman has. She's moved from attraction mode to attachment mode, from evaluation to integration. And if you mistake that for loss of desire and try to manufacture excitement through distance, jealousy, or emotional games, you don't reignite attraction. You destabilize safety. Love doesn't need fireworks every night. It needs a fire that doesn't go out when the wind shifts. If she's ignoring the need to constantly be impressed by you, it's because she's already impressed by who you are, consistently. And consistency is what love grows on, not intensity. The moment most men lose a woman isn't when they do something wrong, it's when they stop understanding what phase of love they're in, because attraction and attachment ask for opposite behaviors. And if you keep feeding attraction tactics to a woman who is already attached, she will slowly detach to protect herself. Here's the thing she ignores when she's truly in love: the urge to compete with other women for your attention. When a woman is unsure about her place with you, she watches other women closely. She notices likes, comments, exes, co-workers, just friends, not because she's insecure by nature, but because uncertainty activates comparison. But when she's deeply in love, she disengages from that competition. She doesn't stalk, she doesn't interrogate, she doesn't need constant reassurance that she's chosen. In her mind, the choice has already been made. This is one of the clearest psychological signs of emotional security in women, and one of the most misunderstood by men. Men often believe jealousy equals desire, and in early stages it can. Jealousy signals investment, but long-term love doesn't run on surveillance. It runs on trust. If she's ignoring potential rivals, it's because she doesn't see them as rivals. Her emotional bond with you feels unique, non-replaceable, and women only feel that way when the connection has moved beyond attraction into attachment. This is also why women in love don't test loyalty as often. They don't manufacture situations to see if you'll choose them. Tests are for uncertainty. Love doesn't need exams. And here's where men get it wrong. They try to provoke jealousy to bring the spark back. They mention other women, they pull away, they flirt openly. They think mystery will reignite desire. But mystery destabilizes attachment. A woman who feels emotionally safe doesn't fight harder when threatened. She withdraws. Not dramatically, quietly, internally. She starts protecting her peace. So when she ignores the urge to monitor your social world, to compete, to compare, that's not because she cares less. It's because she cares enough to trust. She's conserving emotional energy for the bond itself, not for guarding it. And psychologically, this is huge, because women only relax vigilance when they believe a man's values are aligned with theirs, not just his words, his patterns. She trusts that you won't embarrass her, that you won't disappear emotionally, that you won't play power games with her feelings. That trust is fragile, and if you misread her calm as apathy and try to shake it, you teach her nervous system that peace with you isn't safe. She will adapt. Women always do. But adaptation looks like emotional distancing. The irony is brutal. Men chase intensity to feel wanted. Women need stability to stay bonded. And when those needs collide, love erodes silently. If she's ignoring potential competition, ignoring the urge to watch your every move, ignoring the need to guard her place, she's not checked out. She's checked in. She believes the connection doesn't need defending. And that belief is one of the deepest forms of love a woman can give. But it only survives if you protect it, not by proving yourself, by being consistent with the man she already trusts. The most revealing sign of a woman's love is not what she demands from you, but what she stops demanding. Because desire asks, "What can you give me right now?" Love asks, "Can I build a life with this man as he is?" Here's the thing she ignores when she's truly in love: the need for constant reassurance about the future. When a woman is uncertain, she asks questions wrapped as conversations. Where is this going? What are we? Do you see this lasting? Those aren't casual questions. They're emotional temperature checks. She's trying to anchor herself to something that still feels unstable. But when she's deeply in love, those questions fade. Not because she doesn't care about the future, but because she feels it. Her certainty isn't verbal, it's embodied. She imagines you in her life without needing confirmation. Your presence already fits into her long-term picture. This is where many men panic. They interpret the absence of pressure as lack of seriousness. They think, if she really wanted me, she'd push for more. So they either pull away to test her reaction, or they overcommit suddenly, trying to force clarity. Both moves disrupt the natural rhythm of attachment. A woman in love doesn't need guarantees shouted at her. She watches alignment. She watches whether your actions remain steady over time, whether your values stay consistent, whether your words match your behavior without effort. And when they do, she relaxes into the bond. She ignores the urge to future-proof every moment. She doesn't need timelines spelled out. She doesn't need promises repeated. She doesn't need you to convince her daily that you're serious, because emotionally, she's already there. This doesn't mean she has no standards. It means she trusts the process. She believes the connection is unfolding organically, not being negotiated. And here's a truth men rarely hear. Women who feel secure don't rush commitment. They allow it to deepen. Rushing is a response to fear of loss. Calm progression is a response to trust. If she's ignoring the need to constantly define the relationship, it's because defining it emotionally has already happened inside her. She's watching who you are when no one is pushing you. Do you show up consistently? Do you communicate honestly? Do you remain grounded under stress? Do you respect her autonomy as much as your own? Those answers matter more than labels. And if you start pushing clarity to relieve your own anxiety, you shift the emotional center away from trust and into pressure. Pressure doesn't feel like love to women. It feels like instability. The paradox is this: the more secure she feels, the less she talks about the future, because she's living it. She's integrating you into her identity quietly, without announcements, without ultimatums, and that integration is sacred. But fragile. If you misread her silence as indifference and try to force reassurance, you communicate one thing clearly: you don't trust the bond. And when a woman feels that, she begins to question her own safety within it. If she's ignoring the urge to constantly talk about where things are headed, it's not because she doesn't see a future. It's because she already feels one forming, naturally, without force, without fear. That's love in its most mature form, and it's rare. Don't rush what's already growing. Love doesn't end with a fight. It ends with a quiet decision made long before words ever change. And the tragedy is that most men never realize when they were loved the most, because that love didn't look dramatic. It looked peaceful. Here's the final thing she ignores when she's truly in love: the need to protect herself from you. When a woman is unsure, she keeps emotional armor on. She withholds parts of herself. She prepares for disappointment even while smiling. She keeps an exit emotionally mapped. That's not cynicism, that's survival. But when she loves you deeply, that armor comes off. She stops guarding every feeling. She doesn't brace for abandonment after every disagreement. She doesn't rehearse breakups in her head. She allows herself to be affected by you. That's the part men miss. A woman who loves you lets you matter. Your words land deeper. Your absence feels heavier. Your approval carries weight. And because of that, she ignores the instinct to shield herself from pain. She trusts that you won't use her vulnerability against her. This is why women in love don't keep score. They don't tally favors. They don't weaponize past mistakes. They forgive faster, not because they're weak, but because they value continuity over control. And that kind of forgiveness is dangerous. Not for her, for the man who doesn't realize what he's been given. Because once a woman decides she needs to protect herself again, the love doesn't explode. It evaporates. Silently. She becomes polite, calm, distant, not angry, not dramatic, just unreachable. And men are left confused, replaying moments, wondering when things shifted. They shifted when her nervous system decided peace was no longer safe with you. That's why this matters. If she's ignoring the urge to defend herself emotionally, if she's open, unguarded, relaxed in your presence, you are standing in the rarest place a man can stand. You are trusted, not admired, not desired, trusted. And trust is the deepest currency of love. But it comes with responsibility. You don't protect it by clinging. You don't protect it by testing. You don't protect it by trying to recreate early stage intensity. You protect it by being steady when things are boring, respectful when things are tense, grounded when things are uncertain. Love isn't proven in grand gestures. It's proven in how safe a woman feels being emotionally exposed around you. And if she's ignoring all the usual defenses, if she's not guarding her heart, not scanning for exits, not protecting herself from disappointment, it means she believes you won't make her regret that trust. That belief is fragile, and once broken, it rarely returns in the same form. So here's the question I want you to answer honestly, and I want you to write it in the comments. Do you create emotional safety or emotional tension for the woman you care about most? Because the answer to that equation determines whether love grows or quietly dies. If this hit you somewhere uncomfortable, that's a good sign. Like the video if it made you reflect. Subscribe if you want to understand female psychology at a deeper level, and share this with a friend who might be misreading love before it's too late.